You know, everybody has their favorite time of the year. Some people like spring, some like fall, some like winter. For me, I liked the autumn. Autumn for me is wonderful because of the change of season, the color changes, the temperature changes, bright, beautiful, clear days, no humidity. Wonderful. And for most of my life, I have looked forward to fall coming until, that is, about 17 years ago. 17 years ago, we bought this property. We bought a house that we loved, but most especially, we bought the property on which it sat. 4 acres filled with over 100 mature trees. We have oak, we have hickory, we have maple, we have beech, we have everything. All of them big and beautiful, many of them 75 to 100 years old. Now, when we bought it, we saw the beauty. We saw how much we would enjoy the property, but we immediately started hearing from people, "You bought that property? Oh my gosh, that yard, that property is going to be a bear to manage." We even had people say, "All those trees, I tell you what I'd do, I'd take a chainsaw and cut those trees down." Well, the trees were the very thing that we came to enjoy. And they're going to cut down the thing that brings the joy? That didn't make sense to me. Now, I will admit, that first year or two when the leaves started falling en masse, it was a little overwhelming. How are we going to stay on top of it? Well, the entire family jumped in. We attacked it as a team, and we got through that first year. And as we got through the first year, we learned there were some things we could do better the next year. We could be better prepared. We learned from the experience. And so when year 2 came, it didn't take quite as much time. And then when year 3 and 4 and so on, we learned with each successive year, to the point that over the last several years, now 17 years in, it takes one person to do this entire job, and it takes about 4.5 or 5 weeks total. Now, that's not every day, all day long for 4.5 to 5 weeks, but it takes a focused effort for a period of time, and that one person has been me. Now, why do I bring this up? Remember what I said earlier. We had people tell us, "I wouldn't have that property. I don't want the headaches. I'd cut those trees down and be done with it if it was mine." Well, from a leadership perspective, that's very similar to what people say when they say, "I wouldn't have that job. Don't ask me," regardless of the fact that I have the talents, the experience, the know-how. I would not be a leader because I don't want the headaches that go with it. Or I tell you what I'd do, I'd fire him. I wouldn't take one more minute with that person. When in fact that person may be your top performer and just needs a little bit of maintenance, if you will. Here's what I've learned from doing these leaves. Is it my favorite part of owning this property? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. However, I will tell you that the 46 weeks that I'm able to enjoy this property when I'm not doing leaves far exceed the 4 or 5 weeks of time and challenge and trouble to some degree that it takes while I am working in the leaves. And I'll tell you one other thing. During those 4 or 5 weeks, there's a certain amount of pride that swells up in me that says, I can do this job. I can do it even if it's a difficult job. For leaders who may be experiencing a problem, kind of a rough spot, if you will, in your own leadership experience, you've hit that time where everything seems to be falling on you and you're having to clean up what the residue has left. Well, I'll just simply say to you that keeping in mind that this too shall pass, and that you were successful in combating the challenge that you faced. By way of the first experience, you'll be better prepared to deal with it in the future. At least that's been my experience. Now for me, beautiful day, leaves falling, I've got about 3 more weeks and I don't have to worry about it again for another 40 some odd weeks. I'm going to enjoy that.